All right, let me try doing a flip through of my two sketchbooks from a recent trip to India. This is book number one, starts like a lot of travel sketchbooks with an airport sketch. When you're at the airport 3 hours early, which you have to be for an international flight, you draw. And it's sort of for me just a way to warm up and put something in the book so I'm not looking at a blank book when I land. Um, when I land, though, I had another flight within the country to get to where I wanted to. So you can see how there's a big difference between what I draw at an airport in San Francisco and what I draw at an airport in India. There are so many people. It's such a vibrant scene. I don't think I've ever recorded the plane outside the window when I've drawn in India. The book jumps around. I go between the two books, so where I am doesn't quite make sense in this flip through. I'm now in Goa. Sketches from Little Cafe in Goa. This guy with his newspaper. I loved him with his glasses at the end of his nose and his chin mask. Had to draw him. And a place I go to every time in Goa with my parents. Great fish thali at Sharda Bar. And it's a regular little place to have a thali. Lots of dogs lying around always. I guess this is the first time I've been there since the owner passed away. So that was away in a dark area of the scene, but it stood out for me because that's his portrait with a garland, which is what you do when somebody's died. And so even though it was back in the dark since I remember it, it's much brighter in my sketch, more something you notice. One of my favorite things about drawing in Goa, or actually drawing in India, was all the urban sketcher groups I met or people I met. So this is drawn in the South Dome neighborhood of Panjim. Beautiful old homes drawn with Darpana from Urban Sketchers Goa. More details from that little neighborhood. I rarely have the patience or the interest to do whole large architectural sketches, but I love pulling out vignettes like that of the bits that interest me. Always fun, doesn't take forever, and sort of lets me focus on the bits I'm interested in. Like back here, for example, that's the whole facade, and then I was interested in a little swiveling window right here. So I drew a detail of it. You can see how there's wooden shutters on the bottom, but the top shutter also swivels. Quite fascinating. A sketch that didn't get finished. This is Miramar Beach in Goa, in Panjim, with Urban Sketchers Goa, actually. More from that morning. That's the lifeguard patrol at the beach. And some people sketches. I don't always feel the need to add color, but these were fun to do. And you'll notice there's a lot of cafe sketches. I was there in the hottest part of the year in the summer. So lots of refreshment stops. And then at this point, I moved to Bombay in my sketchbook, Mumbai. And this guy, I said Andawala down there, he's really a guy with, you see that big pan? He's waiting to make you eggs to order. So he has all his eggs back there waiting for his first customers. He can make you a good spicy masala omelette. He can make you egg burji. He can make you all sorts of stuff. That's back in Goa. And those are poders. I guess in Goa, there's the word you use in Konkani for a bread maker and a bread seller is the same because the maker sold the bread. So he's a poder. And what he's selling is called a kankon. It's a bagel-shaped or donut-shaped bread. And it's quite hard. It's something sold in the evening to be dipped in your chai and eaten. And it's also given to little kids who are teething, something to chew on. That's Panjim Church, drawn at night. I really struggled with this one because I didn't take a little light with me. It was not hard to draw the church at night. It was hard to see what I was drawing because I didn't have light near me. So a lot of the dark tones, when I brought them home, they weren't dark enough. They were light like that, and I had to bump them up. This is at the family mango farm. When you are in India in May, you get the very hottest part of the year. How hot was it at the farm? On its hottest day, 110. But usually 100-ish at this point in the year. So super hot, but the absolute best time for mangoes. And these are mangoes being sorted and graded. And they're used to me drawing. Every time I'm there, I'll sit and draw. I just have to ask if the spot I'm sitting is not in their way, because this activity, it's quick. Every time they fill one of these, it moves. And I don't want to be in their way when they're working, because it's a super efficient process. More little sketches, many not finished. That's a typical random bar scene. And I just want to draw it because can't draw Goa without having a Kingfisher banner in somewhere. That's India's most popular beer. And very often I ate and then tried to sketch. But if somebody's waiting for my table, I'm not going to finish my sketch. So just for the record, bombil, fantastic fish plate, fantastic all seafood in Panjim, and very good fresh urak when in season. More little sketches. You can see I'm back at an airport, waiting again. So a long monotone. This is gray, one-tone watercolor, pen and ink, and then some pencil over it. And then two old-time bars in South Bombay. This is Cafe Mondegar, and that's Leopold's. And Cafe Mondegar has these lovely caricatures, actually by a Goan cartoonist. And I love how colorful they are. And so the actual people in the bar are rendered in black and white here. I had to pull up the beer and the ketchup bottle. Somehow it went with the scene. But the color is just on the mural. Leopold's, where the beer is always good. And then this was done with Urban Sketchers Mumbai. Sitting on the steps of Asiatic Society Library, I was sure I was going to draw sort of the expanse on the other side of me, quite a sweeping view, which you'll see in my other book I did start but got kind of bored with. But what caught my attention as soon as I got there was the zillion wedding shoots happening on the steps. This was only one of 3 shoots happening on the steps, all in a completely different style. These two were dressed up like, I don't know, some old-time Raja and Rani, and he had a sword that actually she held sometimes. So there were all these fantastical poses on the steps of the Asiatic Society Library. And then I felt I had to record Nimbu Pani Wala or Nimbu Soda Wala on the street, another street vendor, because this is my drink of choice in India. I drink gallons of it. So what it is he'll have fresh lemons and mint, and then salt, pepper, sugar. Salt and sugar, and then soda, and that's water. And you can kind of customize your drink. You can have lemon and water or lemon and soda, and then you can make it sweet or sour or salted, or sweet salt. So you have all these combos, and everybody has their preferred combo. So that's my Nimbu Pani Wala. And then the last sketch in this book was done at a musical performance. It was a small performance, actually at somebody's home. So I actually sat on the floor before them and drew. I could be quite up close, and I knew I had time to do a sketch. So I took my time with this one. All right, so that's this book. And then there's a second book. This one's slightly more cumbersome because I flip back and forth. between vertical and horizontal formats. So you'll see me switching around more. Let's see, both of them are Stillman and Byrne beta books. One is a soft cover, the little one's a soft cover. This one's the hardbound, ring bound. I really like using this book when I'm standing somewhere. And I stand a lot and draw in India just because it comes with the hardback. So much easier. I don't need to carry a separate board or anything else. First sketch of this book at my friend's house in Pune. I was here for a very, very short bit, but I love this little shaded pathway in the front of their house. And I've drawn it more than once. I think I'm in Goa now. That's a typical little shop. That's your corner shop, and these are magical. They have everything from Bisleri water to snacks to plastic buckets for a bath to cheese, milk, fountain pens. You don't go in and pick your stuff. You ask the shopkeeper, and from somewhere in the dark recesses of a very tiny space, all kinds of stuff turns up. In the Panjim Market, this is Ramesh. I stood right by him as I sketched, and we chatted, and he explained how the system works and how each stall has a number, and all these are rented out by Crystal Madam right there. And Crystal Madam rents these out to them and sits there and watches as they sell stuff. It was great fun. In Fontina's little chapel, this is an old part of the city of Panjim. And then another home, a close-up of a home. You can see lots of Portuguese influences in here. There's the very warm yellow wall. There's the azuelo tile. Goans love their plants, so there'll always be lots of plants there. And then the old style windows, they are wooden shutters. And then that's mother of pearl pieces in there from abalone shells. That's how the shutters were made. There was no glass in these old shutters on the windows. All right, let me try doing a flip of this. This is done in Panjim Market, which is quite recently built, super clean. Quite easy to hang around for an Indian market and draw in. So I did a nice, long, relaxed sketch. Every time I walk in there, a vendor will either pull up their plastic stool for me or offer me a plastic crate to sit on. And the market has fans. So I sat and sketched this for quite a while. Let's see, let's go back. This was a quick one. Also in the market. That's the seamstress. That's her shop. And you can bring anything to her, a sari to add a fall to, a blouse to stitch, or even a blouse to adjust because you want it taken in or let out, or any sort of adjustments. You can stand there and get it done. That's a lane in Fontina, again an old part of Panjim. Lots of vegetation. I love how much people love their plants, and the front of houses always have lots of house plants. Another unfinished sketch. Church. I'm forgetting where, Reshma Ghosh, I think. And here I am at the family mango farm again, where they are picking. So this activity is quite quick. A whole bunch of pickers will approach a tree. They're really good at being able to see mangoes. Mangoes are always green when they're picked, but you have to be very quickly able to identify a slight blush, a slight pink blush, and a little bit of dip at the top of the mango, which says that at this point, if you pull it out, it will still ripen. So they take those nets and they quickly fill those crates, and they're done with the tree in about 5-7 minutes, and then they move to the next tree. Luckily, there's a bunch of trees in a locality, so I could sort of follow them around and get this done. I also did a super quick version. This one in just ink pen and pencil, sort of treating everything more in a pattern-like manner, because after it sat there for a while doing this first piece, It really struck me how the light coming through the trees, it was so dappled, it felt like almost a two-dimensional pattern. So that's an attempt to sort of capture that feeling. Let me see this. We go back to this way. All right, so in the weekly market by the mango farm, and this guy is selling all sorts of snacks. And he's the dry goods seller. He'll have lentils, all kinds of beans, poha, which is flattened dried rice. Let's see what's here. That's probably tur dal. And that is dried coconut. So the whole inside, what's inside the hard coconut shell is dried and sold as dried coconut. I have a little video of this on my Instagram. It's this lady and her son have run this sugarcane press forever. So it makes fresh sugarcane juice for you as you sit there. And I always stop here at the end of a visit for my ganna juice. Back in Goa, in the market, this is the mango section of the market. So mangoes are super expensive. In fact, the first time I was there, this sketch might be, let me find it. Where's my other market sketch? Let's see, this sketch was about a week and a half before the other one. And when I went in here, mangoes were 2,000 rupees a kg. A dozen. 2,000 rupees a dozen, which is really, really expensive. And by the time I did this one, a week later, they'd fallen to what is still expensive, 800 rupees. But there were many more mangoes in the market. So I had to do a second sketch in the market much quicker than that first one. Back this way, quick sketch of a house in the Kampal area of Panjim. My favorite tree, champa tree, bougainvillea. Champa, I guess, is, gosh, I'm forgetting, plumeria. I love this tree. I try growing it back here at home and it really, really struggles. This is in Bombay. I don't know the actual name of this building. I know it as what used to have the Sahakari Bhandar in the bottom. But this is South Bombay. Just spectacular architecture, such an amalgam of influences, and absolutely anywhere you look up, even the most decrepit building, it's gorgeous. I love South Bombay. Another building, this is what's known as the Bombay Gothic style. This is the David Sassoon Library, beautifully proportioned, and I remembered my urban sketching experience in Manchester when I was drawing these. So much of the architecture is so similar. That's the Gateway of India. I like drawing here. It's where, there's a lot of hustle and bustle, but it's also one of those big open spaces in a very crowded city. And you can really see the joy of people who live in probably tiny spaces, come here in the evening and really enjoy the big space, the views, the sea breeze. It's really fun to see. It's fun to be there. That one was done with USK Mumbai. So that was while I was sitting on the steps of Asiatic Library. And I started this big sweeping view. And then I decided to go draw the Nimbu Paniwala, who was right down there. So this one remained in this state. And one of my favorite sketches from the trip was my last one. Again, some of the most fantastic experiences with the people I met, like USK Mumbai sketchers, just such a super dynamic group. And this one is one last sketch at a place I've never been at. This is at Sassoon Docks. No, not Sassoon Docks. It's the other dock, Moscow Docks. And that's the ship breaking area. And Zainab from Urban Sketches took me there. I was so excited. It's an area I've never known. This is visual overload, texture overload, but in the best possible way. And I wish I could zoom in. I can't, but I really enjoyed this piece. I added layers and layers of lines that you can barely see on here. It was great fun to do. I think that is it. That's the end of that sketchbook. So those were my two from India. Hopefully you enjoyed this.